Welcome to the UFC predictions for Fight Night Vera versus Sandhagen main card. So straight off, from the start of the main card, Nishikawani versus Duraev. I mean, it's a pretty obvious one. I think Nishikawani's got the extra really level there. I think he's got the power. I think if they stay on the feet, I think it's going to be an easy and quick night. I don't think Duraev is good enough to get him down, really. I don't. The point is, I think Nishikawani is better on the feet, and can Duraev actually get him to the ground or clinch or do something different? I don't think so. Which is going to be that effective to keep him from standing with him for any length of time. Because any length of time that happens, basically what's going to happen, you're going to start taking more and more damage. And I think it's round 1 KO TKO. I think the levels are just different here for this first fight on the main card. Straight on to the next, Alex Perez versus Kate. Kate is, I think, going to have the confidence coming off a 3-fight win streak. I think also he's got the reach. He's got a good reach advantage there. I think Kate keeps it standing and will be able to get the win over the 3 rounds. I don't think. My opinion on this is that he can go all the way. Really, he can be a title contender, at least top 10 fighters in the division at some point. I think he's got that ability. And Alex Perez, I don't think he's got that. I don't think he now has that ability. So I think if you go off that, who's likely to get the top end of the division, who's likely to get, and I'm just looking at that and what they do well and what they've sort of done. I think it's an easy sort of decision. I don't think it's going to be an easy fight. I think Perez is going to do a few bits, but I think Cape's going to get the decision over 3 rounds and probably like 30-27. But obviously not easy. I don't think it's going to be dominant. I don't think it's going to be any 10. There might be a 10-8 and Perez wins 1 round. You know what I mean? Perez comes back on it. On to the next fight. Lee versus Barber. I think Barber's coming off a win, and he's a much younger fighter. I think that helps. I think Barber has that hunger, has that drive and determination to go where she needs to go in the UFC, or at least hasn't sort of gone through already and is still looking at the top going, I want to be there one day. Lee has... Yeah, so I think disadvantage. I think Lee's got a reach advantage, but I don't think it's going to be much of a disadvantage where Barber is sort of, I think, the much better fighter. I think Lee is... I think she just isn't that... hasn't got that drive anymore. I don't think there's that big drive, whereas Barber definitely has. With how young she is, and not just that, like the way she sort of comes about it, and coming off a win, I think she's ready with that confidence to do something really, put this behind her and then get on to the next and start getting up the rankings. I think Barber gets the decision. I don't think it's going to be a KO or submission. I think Barber's going to get the decision over 3 rounds. Then there's enough. I don't think there's enough time for Barber to really get over a 5-rounder. I'd say she gets it out of there, but I don't think in a 3-round there's enough time. I think Lee may just try to survive, which can cause problems if they're not going for it. If they're not trying to knock you out, it's hard. If they're just defending, it's very hard to knock someone out. So Barber gets the decision. Now a good fight on the card. Nate Landwehr versus Lingo. So Nate, very good fighter, and for the sport is a very good fighter, and I'd say sport actually for the business of the UFC is very good fighter, just because he's entertaining. Mainly, he's entertaining and he's a good enough fighter to be on like this sort of card at the minute, and hopefully has sort of the potential, looking at it, to go up. You know what I mean, to go further and to make it somewhere. So I think you've sort of got to, it's good. I think that's good, and I think you've got to try and use that and get him on cards. And against Lingo isn't a fast. I don't think he's a fast starter. So on this fight, I think Nate Landwehr does it just because he's not a fat. You need to get Nate troubled early. I think starts building confidence over 1-2 rounds. I mean, you're not gonna sort it out when you're tired. So I think it needs to be a fast start. You're getting hits on him early. You're rocking him early, and then you have a chance. Lingo doesn't do that. I think he starts slower. He's not a fast starter, meaning Nate has the ability to come into the fight and do what he needs to do. I think Nate gets this by KO or TKO. And yeah, I think he continues, and I think he's going to be very entertaining. I think this Nate winning it helps the UFC at least. That's all I'm going to say, is that it makes money when Nate wins and starts going up the division. He makes more, UFC makes more, because he's an entertaining fighter. He's not boring. He comes on the mic, he says stuff, and that's the sort of thing UFC needs. With there's quite a few people now that don't, especially not outside the championship, but outside the top fives of divisions. How many people are actually going forth and making a name for themselves by getting on the mic and getting stuff done? Nate is one of the only really out there that hasn't sort of been in the top of division already. So on to the co-main. So Holly Holm versus Santos. I think Holm has that experience, obviously. Being at the top of the division was a while ago now. But does have it. Great kickboxer. And I think she'll want to try and do something here. I think this is if she loses this, sort of a last chance of getting anywhere. She loses this, she's not going to get anywhere near the top at the end of the division again. And so I think she's going to try and get something done here. How do I think that's going to happen? I think she goes for she gets a decision over 3 rounds. I think part of it will be Holm doing well, Santos doing well, but Holm really controlling her against the cage for a bit, part of the fights, and using that. I don't think Holm is at that top level that you need to be in to be at the top of that women's division anymore. I don't think she is, but I think it's I think she's good enough to sort of beat anyone who's outside that. I think it's a tough fight within the top 10. Top 5, I think she loses. But I think other than that, she's sort of winning it. And that depends if someone comes up who's going to be that top 5 or champion one day. So I think she's not at that top level. I think she wins this. But I don't think I think she'll try another to go up and try and get a title shot again. But I think this is really the end of it for her. I think she's going to get... The next fight will be a tougher opponent. I think she loses that, probably, depending on the opponent. And that's sort of the end of Holly Holm, who, I say that is quite it's a sad point, because she, what a great fighter. What a great legacy she's left in the UFC for women's MMA, especially being the person to put down Ronda Rousey with a head kick and that massive showing of what that did, and really propelled the that event with Ronda Rousey, the absolute just schooling she did in that fight. I mean, go watch it back. It is one of the best fights overall that you'll see someone just tactically just know what to do in. And there's one point in that fight with Rousey where Rousey's coming forward as she was in that fight. Holmes on the outside, and she kind of ducks slightly left and then fully evades right, and it kind of like Ronda goes for a punch, and she kind of buckles her knee and turns around and goes, how, like, just face just shows like, how did you do that? You know what I mean? It just shows the difference in level. So it'd be sad, you know, but I think she'll win this. If she loses it, well, I think that's retirement straight away. Because if you're losing against Santos, you're not getting back up there again. You know what I mean? You've got to do something incredible, which I don't think is really how it's going to happen. So on to the main event, Vera versus Sandhagen. A good fight. I think it's very even. I think there's a very even matchup here. I think they're both at the top end of that division. I think they've both got experience. They've both got good wins as well. Vera's very good, really at, you know, doing what he needs to do on the feet and getting and having that bit of speciality, really, with just being able to do very different things. Sandhagen more, I would definitely say, a stand-up kickboxer type style, uses that reach to keep him. I think this fight he'll use that reach to keep him away, to stop Vera doing anything that he don't want him to do. And I think Sandhagen gets it done by decision, and I think it's a very tough fight. It could go either way, to be quite honest, because, you know, earlier this week I was saying Vera, Sandhagen, you know what I mean, it sort of can go either way, and I think there's good points on both sides. I think Vera gets taken down. I think he's very good off the back. Sandhagen very good on the feet, using that. If he manages to use that reach, keep him at distance, I think Sandhagen has a good chance as well. I think the key for Vera is he has to get inside, and if he cannot get inside, there's no real chance of him doing much, because he has to get on that inside, hurt him, get out, and then, because Sandhagen is dangerous, you know, even if you get within that range, he's got that sort of check back hook that he could do, you know, or the as you're coming in, he sort of has his arm extended, you come in, opposite hand hook, and just get him rocked very easily. I think it's a dangerous matchup for both, but this will show who is at the level for the next step of going for a title shot. You know, maybe one more fight, and you know, it's between the two top contenders for the title shot, and it'll be one of these. I think Sandhagen does it over 3 rounds. I think over a 5-round fight, I think that's actually more consistent with Vera might be able to do something over the 5, but I think Sandhagen over 3 will control it and keep him at distance and win that by decision. So thank you for watching the UFC predictions. Obviously, enjoy the event. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.